Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a follow-up review video on products I tried in previous first impressions, but I think I'm going to do it a little different today and do a ranking style. So from my least favorite to my favorite, just going over my final thoughts on products that you may have seen on my channel previously. So of course I will link everything down below, and if you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into it. So as I said in the intro, I am going to go from my least favorite to my favorite. Let me know if you like this format better than just jumping around. I don't want to be too hard on some of these products, but I am going to be honest with my experience. Some of them I purchased, some of them were sent to me in PR. It does not change the way that I review products. So I have to say the worst product that I've tried recently is this Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage Trio Concealer. I actually used to love this. I used to watch Carly Bible, and she used this many moons ago, and I used to use the original and love it. It had good coverage. It wasn't overly creamy, but it wasn't drying. Now keep in mind, when I was loving it and using it, I was in my early 20s. Now I'm in my late 30s. So that could be part of it, but they reformulated it. They made it smaller, which I thought was a little bizarre, especially in this economy. But my issue is these are so incredibly stiff and dry. They do not flatter my under eyes in any capacity. They actually make them look worse. So it's quite heavy, almost like a clay putty type feel. Not forgiving if you have dryness anywhere, fine lines anywhere. Even without powder, it had such a dry, chalky look and feel. And I found it to be quite stiff. Again, like I had to be dragging it around, which is not good for the under eye. I will say it does set down. So if you are someone that has really oily skin, oily under eyes, and you want to give it a try, it might be better for your skin type. But for me, it made me look worse, made me feel worse, just very heavy and just gunky and chalky. Really everything that I don't want in a concealer. So this is gonna be an absolute pass for me. I'm disappointed, but I just can't recommend it. This next product I got sucked in, but not by a TikToker, but it was in a comment section talking about drugstore products. And I wanted to try it because I do like a continuous mist setting spray. So this is new from Milani, the Make It Last Microfine Mist. So I purchased this. I cannot get over the scent. And when I tell you this scent is worse than the one size, it's more intense. It almost sneaks up on you when you first spray it. You're like, whoa, that's pretty scented. And then as you're just breathing, as one does, you start choking and coughing on it. It's nauseating, almost like a bug spray type of scent, and it is extremely strong. But on top of that, I don't feel like this really had my makeup lasting any longer than if I didn't use it at all. It does have, I don't even want to spray it, that's how much it smells. It does have a decent mister, think like the Morphe, but maybe not quite as fine. But the scent and the longevity were just not it for me. The scent I could overlook if it was like the best setting spray that I've ever tried and really locked my makeup in, but this just did not do that. I kind of felt like it did nothing. So I can't recommend this because I really just hate the experience of using it, and the actual performance of the product is not there in my opinion. Next, I have a lip balm that just didn't stand out to me, but also has a taste that I cannot tolerate. So this is from Dominique Cosmetics. This is the new Juicy Balm Hydrating Lip Tint. I do have to say that it's very shiny, and the colors stood out to me as being really bright and fun. But unfortunately on the lips, they end up looking clear. When you apply it, you see like a smidge of a tint, but as you apply and spread it out, I mean, it looks clear on the lips essentially. It does have an interesting component that locks and has that little donut at the top that's slanted. The scents are really yummy. They smell really good and each of them has a different scent, but they just look clear. Nothing really to write home about. There's nothing special to warrant having multiple shades. And the problem that I have is the taste. After wearing this for a while, I feel like I'm tasting flowers or something synthetic, and it's really unpleasant. It doesn't hit me initially when I apply it, but I noticed the more that I wore these, any of the scents, it has this like chemical, just artificial taste that I personally can't tolerate. So for me personally, this was a miss. If it was more pigmented and didn't have that weird funky taste, I would have really liked these because I think the formula feels nice, but the sour taste in my mouth is a deal breaker for me, unfortunately. I also have to say that I'm quite disappointed in this Rhode Highlight Milk. I like the original Milky Toner, so I thought that I would give this a go. I have the lightest shade and it has a mechanism that you just kind of drop out onto your hand. It is just so incredibly sheer that it really doesn't have an effect at all. Even if you had no makeup on, you might see like a really, really minute glow, but it is so incredibly subtle with no makeup on at all that once you apply even a skin tint, any foundation, it's just gone. You don't see it in any capacity. I feel like it needed a little bit more pigment, a little bit more oomph, especially considering that they have, I think, like 4 different shades. On top of that, I did also notice I struggled with pilling a couple times. Again, it could have been the foundations I was trying or just this product not meshing with them, but I never had that issue when I used the original glazing milk or the Milky Toner. So I'm not sure if them adding the glow in this changed the formula because it does set down a little bit. I also noticed as I continued to test this that more recently it started to smell like crayons or Play-Doh when it sets down on the skin. I didn't notice that when I was first testing it, so I don't know if that means that the formula maybe isn't stable and it's not going to last as long as it's advertised for. I think it says on the back, yeah, 12 months. It almost smells like when you have a MAC lipstick and it goes off, like it's old and it gets that waxy type of scent. So I don't know what's going on with this, but for me, it's just a huge pass for many reasons, like I just stated. Next, I have a couple bronzers that, again, just didn't wow me the more I used them. This is the Tarte Macaroon Sculpt and Bronze Duo. I have the shade Brown Sugar. So I had used this in a Trying New Makeup, and I have to say that the formula is different to what I typically like, but I did enjoy it in my Trying New Makeup. It has a really thin texture, and I do like that it's not sticky, but it melts almost on contact. So the second you touch it, it goes to this incredibly dewy balm like gloss. The thing I don't like about this is how it doesn't play well with other products, again, that are not the same formula, the same level of dew, and the shade. The more I wore this and when I watched my footage back, it just had this strange undertone. I feel like almost like peanut butter, and it wasn't flattering on my skin. I do think that the baked side is okay. It has a little bit of like that natural finish, but for me, it's the texture on the cream side and then the tone of it. And if I had anything that was like long wear or too matte and not on the same texture level, felt like they wouldn't mesh together as well as I wanted. I don't necessarily think this is terrible, but it's just not a favorite. It doesn't stand out to me with so many amazing formulas. Very similar thoughts on this Rhode Pocket Bronze. So I have Sip. I think the packaging is cheap. Like I can hear it just rattling in there. And I just don't think there's anything special about this formula. I find it to be patchy, not the easiest to blend. And when you go in with powder, I find that you have to be very careful. You have to use a light hand, and it often lifts and leaves patches. It's just not user-friendly in my opinion. If you don't wear any kind of powder, it might be easier for you. But again, there's just nothing standing out to me other than I have to pay extra attention and use kid gloves when I'm using this product. And for the price, like, I'm just not willing to. I have so many other formulas that blend so easily. Powder goes on them perfectly. So this is just not that special in my opinion. On a more positive note, I wanted to halt the ranking for a second to talk about my hair and how I styled it today. I did want to say thank you to Dreamy for sponsoring this portion of today's video. I'm going to be showing you how I styled my hair and how I use the Dreamy Airstyle Pro. I'm a huge fan of a full glam makeup moment, but I have to say that I feel like it's complete only when your hair is styled. I love a good blowout. I love curls. That's what I prefer on myself, but I want something that's not going to damage my hair and not take eons to complete. So that's where this comes in. So the Airstyle Pro has 7 different attachments. So you can do a smooth blowout or bouncy curls with a lot of volume, all with one tool. So I like to start with a heat protectant, and then I do take a little bit of oil through the ends of my hair, and I take the dryer attachment and do a rough dry. And I love that this has a 110,000 RPM motor, so it gives you powerful airflow without all the heat damage, making your hair dry quickly, but again, not using extreme high heat to get there. Next, I go in with the volumizing brush. I love using this to smooth out my hair, and especially at the base of my neck, I have this like wavy, really textured hair. On top of that, I do have some breakage. I've had a wild ride with hairstylists recently. I haven't even talked about it, but if you haven't noticed, I did cut a good like 4 or 5 inches off my hair, and I'm just not coordinated enough to use 2 separate things, like a round brush and then a hair dryer. It's just not gonna work for me. But once I have everything smoothed out, then I go in with my favorite attachment, which is the barrel curling attachments. So there's 2 different rods, and I like that they're also quite long, so they work if you have longer hair. So I like to curl away from my face, but you do have the option to do towards your face or away from your face because there are 2 barrels. This could not be easier. Your hair just grips straight on to the barrel. You don't have to do anything special. I just hold the piece of hair out and then put the barrel behind it, and it automatically does the work for you. So I like to hold my curl for roughly 10 seconds or so, but if you want them to set, there's a cool shot that you can use that pushes cool air to set the curl. And in the before and afters, you can see just how much of a difference this makes. Once you get the hang of it, it's literally so incredibly easy, and it really only took about 15 minutes. So I cannot recommend this enough. Just one tool. You don't have to have a straightener, a curling iron, a hair dryer, and it's also really nice for travel because you can take all the attachments as well. But this is the finished hair. It is smooth. It has that nice wave and bounce, and it feels healthy because I didn't use a ton of heat to achieve this. So really perfect for every day and any type of hairstyle that you may want to do. Dreamy was also kind enough to give me a discount code, so I will have that on the screen and down below, as well as a link to the Airstyle Pro if you want to check it out. I've been loving it, and I think you will too. So all of that will be down below, and let's go ahead and get into some more ranking of new makeup releases. So these next products are in the middle of the pack. They're not bad products, but they're not products that work for me, but I'm gonna tell you who I think they would be good for. So let's start with the Kosas Cloud Set Translucent Powder. So they came out with translucent and more skin tone type colors. I have found that this powder is not nearly as mattifying and not nearly as smoothing as I prefer, but I could see how this powder would be perfect for those of you that really hate powder. The look of it, the feel of it, because this, once you set your skin, doesn't really change the way your foundation looks. There might be like a minor smoothing effect, but it's very, very minor in my opinion. If you compare it to like the L'Oreal, this feels like you're wearing nothing. It almost has that feeling that you didn't even put a powder on, and I don't like that because I have like sensory issues. This would be perfect if you feel like you need a little bit of powder, let's say on your under eye where you have fine lines and you have creasing, or your smile lines, but you don't want it to mattify or change the look of your foundation, and you don't want to feel it. You want to still feel dewy to the touch and actually look almost like you didn't use a powder. I get it now, the Cloud Set name. I am just not a fan of something like this because I need a powder to really transform my skin, but I can see who it would be marketed to and that it would be useful to a lot of people. So it's not a bad product, it's just not a product for me. And then similarly, the Hourglass, the lip blurs. I actually like this formula, so this isn't really that this product isn't for me, because I do prefer something like this that has that soft powdery look. I feel like it lasts longer than a standard bullet lipstick, and it has that really pretty blotted, blurred lip look. This is more of a sheer formula if you do manipulate it at all, but you can build it up, and I don't find it to be drying. But my complaint solely is the color selection. I just don't feel like there's enough variety, and also they're just a little bit deep for me, so that's why they're not a favorite. If there were lighter tones, I think I would like it a lot more, but I prefer something that's, you know, like MAC Flesh Pot, something very light, and all of these lean a little bit richer. So if you have a medium tan, deeper skin tone, or you just like richer tones overall, I think you would really like this. I find it to be quite comfortable, and really there's nothing that I don't like about it other than there's just not a shade for me personally. And then similar feelings in regards to the Rare Beauty. These are the lip oil sticks. I actually really, really like this formula. I just think the colors are really loud. I don't think that that's bad necessarily, because in today's market, how many nudes do we need? In my opinion, you can never have too many nudes, but this formula is really, really nice. It's very thin, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. So you don't really have to babysit it as much as you may think. It's quite hydrating, and it has a really nice high pigment shine. Again, my only complaint is that a lot of these colors are intense. I'm talking like hot orange, hot red, really hot pink, to the point of like, whoa, you really have to be in the mood to wear a bright lip. And for me, every day, I want something nude like I'm wearing right now. So I just haven't found a shade that works for me. Even the more neutral shades, which this one is called Dream, again, just much richer than I prefer on myself. So if you like the colors, I think you would really enjoy this. I think it's a beautiful formula. I just need more nudes and light pinks. Think like concealer lip colors. Those are my jam, but again, I'm not the only consumer, and I know that these are gonna work for a lot of different people. So really nothing wrong with these formulas, just not catered to my specific likes or needs. So now we get to get into the really positive portion of the video. These are the products that stood out to me that I really love. They work for me and the makeup interests that I have. So let's start with the About Face Highlighting Pearls. This is really interesting. It's a little bit different in terms of the presentation. There's two different colorways. This is the lighter one. I thought this might be too iridescent and not wearable, but I found that when you mix them together, they just have this really gorgeous icy tone to them, and there's not glitter flying all over. It's not chunky or too holographic. It's actually quite wearable in my opinion, and you can target and dip into one of the other shades, like if you want to use it on your eyes or your inner corner. But I just think this gives such a gorgeous icy glow. It's very thin, it melts into the skin, and you can start natural and build it up. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but I actually reached for it more than I thought I would, and I'm pleasantly surprised at just the formula in general and how wearable it is. So if you were looking at it thinking that it was probably like too holographic or too iridescent, I don't believe that at all. And then I wanted to talk about the L'Oreal Tinted Balm. I didn't think I was going to like this, but this just covers in an instant. It's so incredibly easy. You can truly apply this in 30 seconds and be out the door. This is the second one that I have. I have two different shades. It has this balm texture, but I found that it actually has a nice coverage to it, and it doesn't, again, have that stickiness. I don't like things that are sticky and heavy. This doesn't feel like that to me. It's just 5-minute makeup in a compact, and you can take it on the go. It does come with a sponge, but I use a brush typically. It lasts a pretty good amount throughout the day. I don't get greasy, it doesn't separate. It might wear a little bit like on my jawline, but honestly for every day, I just love that it gives me that even coverage really quickly, and it plays well with all of my other products. It sets with powder, no problem. So it truly is a staple for me, and something that I didn't think I would enjoy, but I really do. And another product I'm wearing on my eyes right now. These are so pretty, and they're very expensive, but I don't know. They're just really, really nice in terms of the formula. These are the eyeshadow duos from Polite Society. So I had reviewed these in a video, and I'd said they're a little bit pricey, and I do think they are, just because there's so many palettes that you can get, you know, a ton of different shades. But look at how gorgeous this is. This shimmer is so beautiful, and it's so thin, so it doesn't get heavy or chunky. It doesn't make your lids look crepey. And then the mattes are just buttery smooth. They just blend effortlessly. Really, truly a perfect duo if you're somebody that has a small makeup collection, or you want a travel duo, kind of just like a 2 and done, not a 1 and done. This would be perfect. So I have really been impressed with this. I actually went into Ulta this past weekend, and I was looking at other colors and really tempted to buy a couple more, but they were sold out. I definitely think getting a duo with the shimmer and the matte is a better option, just because 2 mattes, it's, you know, we all have that in our collection 10 times over, but I have really been impressed with this formula. I would love to see them come out with maybe quads. I feel like that would be more user friendly, and maybe a 6-pan or a 9-pan if they really wanted to expand on that. But pleasantly surprised with those. I think even though they are a little bit pricier for what you get, the formula is top notch. I'm also pleasantly surprised by this Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Palette. This is phenomenal, especially for the price, but this has such a nice creamy formula that I don't find to be overly pigmented, and I actually prefer that. You can build these up and you don't have to be afraid to use them. I also like that it's not a super dusty formula. It blends without skipping and getting patchy. It is quite warm, so I would say you have to like a warm bronzer, but I just mixed these two today as my powder, and it just blends super nicely, and it's not something that's going to enhance your texture. There's no glow to it. Just really, really nice, solid matte bronzers. So I think it's a fabulous formula. Really, really impressed, especially for the price point. So if you were eyeing it, I think you would really enjoy it. And then I am loving these Huda Beauty Liquid Matte Lip Mousses. I really only reach for 2 shades, which would be the Honey Nude, and that's still a little bit deep for me. And then the favorite has to be Baby Pink. This Baby Pink is so beautiful. I feel like a lot of people are loving this shade, and this has that really cool tone to it. It's not quite as light as I had thought it was, but it works, I would say, on any skin tone because you can manipulate with a lip liner. It is just such a hydrating formula and it's quite pigmented. You can blend it and make it a little more sheer, but if you were to compare this to the Hourglass, this is more pigmented off the bat, and I would say less of a silicone feel and more of like a whipped moussey feel. Now these don't last as long as like a liquid lipstick, let's say something that's like matte, but they do hang on longer than a standard bullet in my opinion. And they have a more even wear because they have that nice hydrated formula. So I really like these. I would like to see, again, more colors, and hopefully they do come out with more in the future because I think people are really enjoying them. And the last product that I'm gonna give the #1 spot to, I have been so impressed with this. I just feel like it's so innovative and it really surprised me. I thought I was gonna hate it, but I have loved using this product, especially on my chest, but also on my face. So I have to give it to One Size. They really did a phenomenal job with this. This is the Until Dawn Bronze Veil Setting Spray. This is so innovative. It is just pigmented enough to give you a really nice glow and bronze to the skin. So this is the shade Cocoa Glow. They also have Caramel Glow, which is warmer and lighter. This has the perfect amount of pigment so that you can spray it on your face in your décolleté without feeling terrified. Let's say like a full tilt, like Sally Hansen airbrush legs. It's not like that. It's like a sheer buildable formula. It's just enough to give you that sun-kissed look. I love to use this on my chest and even on my face if I feel like I'm just looking dull and I need a little bit more color. It's so nice at doing that without adding heavy layers and without having sticky body oils on. It's a game changer for those of you that have sensory issues like I do. I hate having like sticky glitter body lotion on. So this really just gives you that look without the stickiness because it dries down. It's just truly a phenomenal product. I would absolutely love to see them come out with this in a matte option so that you could add a little bit of like a matte bronze to the skin or even just like body makeup, more of a buildable option that doesn't have the shimmer. That is the only thing I will say, because it has a radiance, it can enhance texture, which that's just gonna happen with any product that has any type of radiance to it, but I still feel like it's not nearly as scary as you may think. So if you were curious to try it, I think you would really enjoy it. It also locks your makeup in, and again, using it on the body, it's just nice because it locks everything in and gives you that radiance and bronzy look without the stickiness. So I think it is a phenomenal product, truly something new to the market, which is really hard to do. So I had to give kudos to One Size. But I think that is everything for this video. I have some other products I'm still testing or I don't want to give my full thoughts on yet because I'm a little unsure. So those will be in upcoming videos, but I would love to know if you've tried any of these products and what your experience has been with them. And I will link everything that I talked about today down below. Also on YouTube Shopping. Don't forget to check out the Dreamy Airstyle Pro. I think you guys will absolutely love it. And the price is so much more reasonable than you may think. So all of that info with my code will be in the description box. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. As always, thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.